quite a few questions around plant-based meats. And so maybe Alpha, you could start with this one. People are wondering, like, what are our thoughts on plant-based meats, the future of protein, things like that?
So, I mean, just go try the Impossible Burger. I mean, it is. I ordered it for the first time and I actually took it back and I said, I think you gave me the wrong burger. And they're like, no, and I'm like, and I'm looking at like, this is kind of freakish, you know? And so, I mean, we have the Beyond Burger at our restaurant in Terra and Vine. And so we serve it and people, you know, ask for it and what have you. But again, it's just taste. And I mean, I can't figure out, I mean, Impossible Burger is distinctly different from Beyond Burger, but I just still cannot figure out how they can make that Impossible Burger taste like it does. I mean, it's absolutely kind of amazing. But there's you know, there's like a bit of an arms race on, you know, developing this artificial meat. You know, there's I forget, there's some venture capitalist guy that's like dumped like millions of dollars into creating this like hamburger to try to figure out how to do it. But I think that, like I said, I think that whoever figures it out and is able to get it distributed properly, and then us getting on board as far as like a normalized process, I mean, I think it's just a matter of time. And then the same thing being done to chicken. But I also think there's going to be a consumer sentiment shift as well, to just gradually kind of weaning off the meat in our diet. Right. And so I think that, you know, people are just looking at legumes and vegetables and grains. And like, I mean, just look at what's happened in the dairy industry. You know, like you go buy some milk and it's like rice milk, macadamia, oat. I mean, it's just like, oh my gosh, like the choices are endless. So I think that it's, you know, changing consumer habits as far as what they're eating. Meat will be, you know, like real meat will be more of like a luxury item. And then maybe those occasions where you do want to have something, you know, maybe you go into, like I said, that impossible territory, definitely in the fast food sector, because you can't tell the difference.
This is unfortunately where the marketing thing I was talking about earlier as it relates to the food industry exists, because fortunately, as it relates to the plant-based food movement, it's gained a lot of steam recently, because for the first time within the last maybe 10 or 15 years, we've realized the connection between cattle industry and our environment. So in terms of carbon emissions, we used to think the environment sucked because we drove lots of planes or drove lots of cars and flew lots of planes, when in reality, it's the cattle industry. So I think that's been the sort of a tailwind pushing it. But the other thing, unfortunately, is the cattle and beef industry still spends gobs of money trying to tell Americans that in order to be manly, you got to eat meat, or in order to party with friends or tailgate with friends, you need a hamburger. So that will be an interesting thing that happens. Fortunately, on the demand side, there is the consumer demand, at least for many of these plant-based options. I personally have been plant-based for about 7 or 8 months, mostly plant-based.